Hey y'all, I'm Abby, More Than Just Skin, and welcome back to my channel. Or if this is your first time here, welcome. This is a first for me in a series that I'm going to start doing because I absolutely love watching collection videos. So I thought that I would start filming my collection videos, and the first one I'm going to tackle is my blush collection. Now, I'm not going to be getting rid of anything. This is not a declutter video. This is strictly a collection video. I want to show you what I have, and then probably later on I'm going to do a declutter and get rid of some stuff. Now, a few housekeeping matters. First, this is just single blushes. I am going to do a video later on dealing with palettes, face palettes, and I am considering anything over one product as a palette. So any duos or 3 products, all of that is going to be considered a face palette. So I'm going to have that video coming as well as like bronzers, concealers, eyeshadow palettes, single eyeshadows, you know, and there it goes. I'm kind of doing this to take stock of what all I have. Plus, I'm also on a no-buy for the month of July. Now, I'm not sure when this video will actually go up, but I'm doing a no-buy as far as makeup and skincare go, except for the Nordstrom anniversary sale. I am going to be purchasing from the Nordstrom anniversary sale, but I'm not really sure if that's going to be any beauty related items. Also, another thing, I did my nails myself. They don't look great. Please forgive me. I'm going to try to do some swatches on my arms to show you these items. But so I think that's enough talking. If you are interested in seeing my blush collection, then hit that subscribe button, and here we go. Okay, so I thought that we would first start with my drugstore blushes, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 drugstore blushes. Now, I thought I had a Physicians Formula blush somewhere, but I couldn't seem to find it, and it doesn't really matter. I'll go ahead and give you my opinion on it. I had Plum Rose, and I didn't feel like it was pigmented enough for my liking. So I'm going to start down here with my Wet n Wild blush. This is the Wet n Wild Color Icon blush in the shade Rose Champagne. It is this beautiful, just very natural color blush. And if you can see, I'm going to swatch it right there. You can see how pretty it is. It is just, and I'm trying to get it in focus. Bear with me, this is my first time doing one of these. But it's just if you want like a very light, and I'm gonna want a very light color. This one is great, but you can also build it up. So I think it's just a beautiful blush, and this is definitely one that I reach for a lot. Next up, as far as Wet n Wild goes, this is the Ombre Blush Wet n Wild Color Icon, the Princess Daiquiris. Now, I don't find myself reaching for this as often. It's that ombre blush, and I just don't really, you see how I'm doing this? I don't really feel like I get a whole lot of pigment, but when I put it on, it looks really good. And now that I'm looking at it, maybe I need to break it out some more and try it again. But I think it would just give you kind of like a nice flush on the cheek. So maybe I need to bring this out to the forefront and use it some more. Some of my newer ones to my collection are the baked ones. This is the Wet n Wild Color Icon Baked. This is in Hummingbird Hype. And let me say, you see that glow right there? That is, hoping that is picking up. The camera is picking up, but it is like what I consider a highlighter. This would be a highlight for me. I like to use it more as a blush topper. I don't really wear it a lot on its own, but it really is absolutely gorgeous. I purchased both of these. I also have it in Don't Flutter Yourself. I purchased both of these when they were running a 30% off. I probably would not have purchased these had they not been on sale, but I'm so glad they were, and I'm so glad I did. I featured these in a recent favorite because once I got them and started using them, I really couldn't stop. So I'm going to show you what that one looks like right there. That's Don't Flutter Yourself. And if you mix the two, look how gorgeous that looks. And that's kind of what I like to do, is mix the two on my cheek and then maybe on top of a matte blush. And so that's kind of the way I have been wearing these two, and I've really been enjoying them. Definitely a staple in the drugstore blush collection is this Milani blush in the shade Luminoso. This is just a gorgeous, gorgeous blush. It definitely has a really pretty peach tone. It's right there. I just love it. I think that it is gorgeous. I recommend this if someone is starting out and is looking for a good blush that just really doesn't break the bank and you're going to get good pigment. This is the one that I recommend at the drugstore. Another kind of new to my collection is this Flower Beauty one. This is in the shade Warm Hibiscus. I purchased this because Anti-Aging Amber did, and I just like to follow her. What can I say? I'm a follower. But you can see it right there. I think that this could very easily be a cheaper dupe for NARS Orgasm. Now I can't show you NARS Orgasm because I don't actually have the powder blush. For some reason, I think I used mine up and I may have had a small one and then I can't seem to find the small one. I don't know if I decluttered it, I'm not sure, but I think that this is gorgeous and it just gives you that same shade as NARS Orgasm, and it certainly is not near as expensive. But so this is Warm Hibiscus by Flower Beauty. Another one that is newer to my collection is this one by Ulta. This is in the shade Honey Bunny. This is one of their velvet blushes. Let me get this one open. I do think I remember this one being a little bit harder to open. There we go. Let me find a finger. We'll use that one. You can see it's definitely a peachier shade, but look at that amount of pigment you get. I think you get a lot of color pigment from that shade, and it's just a gorgeous peachy shade. Again, this does not break the bank, and a lot of times on Ulta, they have buy one, get one half, or buy two, get one free. So that is definitely something to look out for. I really, really love Essence Cosmetics. I've been very impressed with everything that I've bought from them. It started with my love for their gel top coat and then their dry drops and then some of their mascara, and I really do love their blush. This is the Satin Touch blush. Now my biggest complaint with this is it comes in two colors. It comes in Satin Coral and it comes in Satin Love. Not a very big shade range. Another one of my complaints is the Satin Coral the packaging has already broken. It's just, but for the price, I don't really think I can be too upset. These are matte blushes, and you can see right there, that is Satin Coral. Now, this is a good example of something to top with one of these Wet n Wild shades. So you have a satin, which is like more, and they call it satin, but I do think it's definitely more of a matte. It doesn't have much shimmer or sheen. It kind of just has a little, I mean, it definitely looks pretty on the skin, but it doesn't offer too much sheen. So I think that this is a good one to top with something like the Wet n Wild baked blushes that I showed you earlier. Now, this one is in the shade Satin Love. So the first one was a coral. This definitely pulls more pink, but it's more of, it's not too pink. It's just kind of that perfect blush shade. So I would recommend this if you were just looking for a good solid blush. You don't want anything shimmery on your cheeks and you don't want to break the bank. You may want to check out this blush. Now, lastly is the LA Girl Just Blushing, and this is in the shade Just Radiant. Y'all, I've been so impressed by this blush. I would like to actually get some more of these blushes. Look how pigmented that is. Oh, sorry. Look how pigmented that is. I just think it's gorgeous. I don't really reach for it much this time of year. To me, this is more of like a fall and winter type shade for me, but I just think it's a gorgeous texture. You get so much pigment there. You really have to be cautious because you do get so much pigment, but I just think it's gorgeous, and it makes me want to try some more of the LA Girl blushes. So now I'm going to clear off my arm, and we're going to start in higher end. Okay, I'm back. So these are more kind of like mid-range. I am going to kind of divide these up because I do have a good many of them. So these are more mid-range blushes. I am going to actually start with this in my little Z palette. These are Makeup Geek single pan blushes, and I have the shade Romance, and I believe this one is Spellbound. So I'm going to swatch Spellbound for you. It is just a really pretty kind of, just puts a nice color. It could go both peach or pink, but I think it's just a really solid color. I believe that she still makes these. My biggest complaint is I wish I would have gotten them in like a container like this. Makeup Geek sells them like this, and I just find that I don't really reach for this as much in the singles. And then this other color is Romance, and I believe I bought this because I thought it was a dupe for the NARS Orgasm. I don't really think it is exact dupe for NARS Orgasm. I think it pulls a little bit peachier, but it is a pretty one. It has a glow, and actually if you mix these two together, let's put it right here, it's really pretty. And I think that's one of the reasons I bought this. I saw that somebody on YouTube had mixed them together, and it was really gorgeous. So those are my two Makeup Geek blushes, and I just keep them in this small Z palette unless I'm traveling and I need to use this Z palette for something else, but that's kind of what I do for that. Let's do MAC next. I have two MAC blushes. The first one is Sunbask. Now, yes, this is a Jaclyn Hill made me do it. She said that this was her go-to blush for the summer months, and I hope that this is focusing. I'm not really sure if it's focusing or not. I think it's focusing over there, but it's just a really gorgeous peach blush. You can see it right there. It of course, as in all MAC products, it swatches well, it's pigmented, it is gorgeous, it looks nice on the cheeks, and it definitely pulls a little bit orangier. So I don't really have anything like this. This is kind of one of a kind in my collection, although now that I'm doing this I might see that I have something similar, but I really love that one. And then this one is the shade Margin, and I think that this is another Jaclyn Hill made me do it purchase. I think this was one of the ones that she said was one of her staple blushes, and it looks very similar to Sunbask, except Sunbask is still a little bit orangier and this is a little bit peachier, but it's still a gorgeous blush. It applies well. You really just cannot go wrong with MAC blushes, and they don't break the bank. Now moving on to Tarte. This is Tarte Exposed. This is something that YouTube made me do it, or Instagram made me do it, but I will say that I feel like mine is definitely drying out. It's just kind of a very neutral shade. It like some of the other ones that I said, is very similar, I think, to Romance by Makeup Geek. It can pull pink, it can pull peach. It really doesn't matter. You can do a cool toned eye look with this, you could do a warm toned eye look with this, and it just really would not matter. That's why I think everybody likes this and just calls it kind of the universal blush. Also too, it is the matte formula, so it's another one that you could easily top with one of those Color Icon baked blushes by Wet n Wild. My more recent purchase from Tarte is Party, and I think it is very similar, but I can tell just by swatching it how much creamier it is, and you can see it's very similar to Exposed, except I would say it definitely pulls more pink. So this is definitely a cooler toned blush than Exposed. Exposed definitely just falls right in the neutral category, and Party is just a little bit cooler, but it just has that pretty pink flush. This would be gorgeous year round, but especially I think I reach for this more like in the summer, in the winter, when I don't want too much glow. I don't want really like, you know, that color, really like an orangey color on my cheeks. I just kind of want them to be a little more neutral. That's when I would reach for that. A newer blush to me is this Cheek Pop by Clinique in the shade Pink Pop. Y'all, I want to get some more of these, but you can see I do not need any new blush, any more blush. This is absolutely positively gorgeous. It definitely is pink. You can see right there, it is pink. But it is so pretty. It is so pigmented. I just really don't think you can go wrong with this. They come in all sorts of colors. I think they have peach pop, ginger pop, they're nude pop, so pretty, and the formula is just really, really nice. I have two Makeup Forever. These were point perks or samples, I can't really remember, and you know, they don't have names. So this one is, what's the color? B302. And it looks like this. It's definitely kind of a peachier one. I said that I felt like this maybe was a little bit like NARS Orgasm. You can see right there, I think everything just goes back to NARS Orgasm. That's kind of the base for everything. But I definitely find that this one is not as sparkly as NARS Orgasm, and it is not as bright, and maybe it doesn't pull quite. I don't know, it seems like this is just a straight peach, but it's a creamy formula. It's pretty, but it doesn't seem to have a whole lot of sheen to it. The next one I have is S214. This definitely is pinkier. This would be pretty, I say more in the fall and the winter. You can see it's just kind of a rosy, not quite berry, but pulls a little bit berry. So yeah, I really have enjoyed wearing these. I don't find them hard to apply, even though they are very small. But yeah, I find that the texture is really nice on those blushes. So I have two Benefit blushes, and both of these are pretty recent to me. The first one is a mini, and it's in the shade Gold Rush. And I'm not really exactly sure, to be honest. I've worn this a couple of times and I just haven't really been very impressed by it. It is very nude. It's very light. I don't even find that it has a really, I mean, there's a little bit of a sheen there, but it's not as much as I was expecting for something called Gold Rush, to be honest. But it is kind of a pretty nude. I'm gonna hang on to it, which I'm hanging on to all these, but I'm not sure how impressed I am with this. I did pick up the Rockateur, which I have heard great things about. This is more of like a mauve shade, and it too I have worn a couple of times. It's not as mauve as I was expecting it to be. It's actually pulls to me a little bit more on the nude side, but it is a pretty blush and the formula is nice, so I'm looking forward to trying out this some more. Okay, so I have 5 cream blushes, and let's talk about each one of these. I have 3 of the Stila Convertible Cheek Pop. This first one is in the shade Poppy. Now you can put this on your lips, your eyes, and on your cheeks. This is kind of a deep red. I really got this more for wearing on my lips. I'm not going to use that on my cheeks. I don't think I've ever used this on my cheeks. I purchased this because a YouTuber put it on her lips and it looked so good. But I think I can safely say that I don't use it very often. But yeah, it's just kind of a very, very bright red, and I just really don't know. Somebody with a much deeper skin tone would be the one that would wear this on their cheeks. Another one I have, though, that is much more wearable to me is Lilium. And this was purchased because Nadine Baggett talked about what a pretty universal shade this was, and I think she's right. It really is gorgeous. I like to buff it in on my cheeks. It's pretty on your eyelids. It's also pretty on the lips. So this is Lilium. And then lastly, this was a Pixie Woo's made me do it. This is Camellia. Sam Chapman used this in her everyday makeup bag, and I thought it was pretty. You can see I've hit pan on it. It is definitely more nude. It's probably prettier in the summer and the fall. Summer when you're kind of going for a bronze look, but this one is probably the one that looks the best on your eyelids. Next up, I recently had in my June Shop My Stash. This is a Tom Ford cream cheek color in the shade 01 Pink Sand. It is just a gorgeous, gorgeous color. You can tell the difference in this one and the other ones. It just is much more, to me, wearable. It's just this gorgeous pink with like a sheen to it, and it just makes your cheeks look so pretty and flushed. So this is gorgeous and very wearable. Next up is something that is newer to me, and I'm shaking it up. This is the NARS Liquid Orgasm, and y'all, it is so pretty. Let's see how I hope this works. But you just basically take it and put a dot, and then you just, of course, it would not look like that on you. You would definitely shear it out by using, I use a beauty blender, but it by far is my favorite cream blush product. I have been reaching for it constantly during the summer months. I think it is gorgeous. If you are interested in a cream blush product, get this one because this one is definitely absolutely gorgeous. You can definitely see the creams have the staying power. I mean, I'm kind of a little stained from the creams. I washed off my arm like I normally do. Okay, so this is, let me try to get everything out of the way. Oh. Okay, so this is the last group, and these definitely are high-end. You can see some Chanel, Burberry, Tom Ford, Natasha Denona, Hourglass, and Kevyn Aucoin. So this is if you want a good luxury blush. So I think I'm going to start down here with Burberry. Now this was a makeup by Tiffany D, made me do it. It is in the shade Peony. I think they still sell this shade. It looks frightening when you swatch it on your finger. It looks kind of frightening when you look at it there, but when you put it on your cheeks, it just gives you this gorgeous flush. I think this is so pretty. It's so wearable. It's so creamy, and it's just a staple in my collection. Next up, let's go to Tom Ford, and this is in the shade Ravish. This is definitely something that I reach for in the fall and the winter. Look at that. To me, that is just the perfect warm blush for when you are going when it's colder outside. I just think this is beautiful. This is definitely not something I reach for year round. Probably if I was spending this much money, I should have gotten something that I would reach for on the daily, but to me this is just such a unique color. You can see I have nothing else like this in my collection, so that is why I went for this one when I purchased my Tom Ford. Next up is an Hourglass blush in the shade Dim Fusion. I'm trying to find a finger. It is just very, it's what I'm wearing today, which you can't see me, so that doesn't really help, but it is just such a pretty nude. It's very light. It doesn't give a whole lot of color payoff, but if you're just wanting kind of a light stroke of color on your cheek that just kind of glistens and just kind of gives you like a glow from within look, this one is a great one. Moving on to Chanel, because who doesn't love Chanel? This is the shade Rose Bronze, and to me it is perfectly named. It just too is not anything too bright, too fussy, but it is such a wearable color. You know, if you're going to spend this much on a blush, get you a good wearable color. Don't do like I did with the Tom Ford, but this just looks good with anything. It can pull warm, it can pull cool. It is just a great neutral blush. Now, one of the reasons that I do not have the NARS Orgasm in the powder form in my collection is because I have this Natasha Denona Duo Glow in the shade Alba. This was gifted to me by my good friend Anti-Aging Amber, who also has a YouTube channel here. And to me, the way I describe this is like NARS Orgasm on steroids. I mean, look at that. Look at the pigment on it. It is gorgeous. I feel like really if I had this in my collection, I don't need NARS Orgasm in the powder form. This is so pretty, and for the summertime and the springtime, you really just cannot go wrong with this blush. So I've recently become obsessed with the Kevyn Aucoin Neo Blushes. This is in the shade Pink Sand. Now, one of the things I really love about this is I feel like you can get a few different colors. Like, let's start over here. So we have something that is very light pink, pulls very, so in Pink Sand, if you swatch right here on the end, it pulls very cool. You can see that on the end. But now let's go a little bit in the center. If you mix it a little bit in the center, we're getting a little bit warmer. We're still pretty cool, but you see we're getting a little darker and just a little bit warmer. So then if we go kind of midway, we're pulling in some peach tones there. And then if we go on the end, well, you're getting very peach. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 different shades of blushes. Now these are expensive, but so far we've got 4 different shades. Now let's just swipe it all over. So I'm just rubbing my finger all over and I get that. So all are completely different. So we have 5 different shades from this one little palette. So this is gorgeous. It is pricier, like I said, but it is absolutely positively beautiful. Last one is a Neo blush, and this is in the shade Rose Cliff. Now we're going to do the same thing. So this is how it looks. So if we start over here, it's kind of very, I would say, sparkly and definitely very neutral, well, more peachy. Then let's go kind of in the center. We're definitely pulling pinker. Then we get over there towards the end. We're definitely getting rosier. Now let's take your finger and do over the whole thing. And you see you have 4 different colors, and I probably could have done 5 like I did with the pink cliff as well. So this is just, the pink sand as well. This is just an absolutely positively gorgeous blush. So yeah, so that is all of my blushes. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. And as always, I hope you had a fantastic day and a great week, and I will see you all soon. Bye, y'all.